AEK Larnaca versus West Ham in the Europa Conference League. The knockout stages are here now. This is the first leg of the round of 16. I've got to be honest, Riley, mate, it's a break from Premier League football, so I'm grateful for that. I've lost my excitement a little bit for this competition, just ever so slightly, just because of this season. I'm just so flat and bored, but I am quite grateful for the fact that this is at least it takes a distraction away from where we are in the Premier League, and we can just focus on something that's got a little bit of positive feeling about it. What we usually tend to do is talk about the opposition. This is a bit of a tricky one, this one, because although I'm speaking for myself, of course, Riley, but I don't know a lot about Larnaca, obviously.
Wow, mate, you're missing out. AEK Larnaca. I'm an avid follower in the Cyprian Premier League, obviously. I haven't just looked them up on my phone about 10 seconds before recording. That's not how we do things here.
No, not at all. Hang on.
Yeah, Travoski is one of my favourite players. Scored a hat-trick in the last game for them, which they won 3-1, you know. But yeah, obviously we can't talk too much about the opposition. We don't want to talk about the golfing class. We don't want to underestimate them. But you know, as small as the budget is for the West Ham way, we haven't got scouts looking at AEK Larnaca week in, week out to give us a good idea.
Well, we have, but they're apparently in Iron Apple at the moment. So
yeah, they are. I mean, I was supposed to go on that trip, but you know, unfortunately,
I did think you got a bit of a tan. Actually, you do look like you caught a bit of a tan.
Yeah, a little bit of a tan. Look, you caught me out, mate. I was up in Napa looking at the opposition, but unfortunately, I was just spent the whole time not watching the game and just going out to the clubs. But anyway, it's more about what West Ham can do, what sort of team we need to be fielding. And obviously, you know, it's a good draw because it is a good away day for the West Ham fans, and you know, we've got a great away support, and it'll be nice and sunny out there, so that'll be good. Hopefully, the players will enjoy it as well. It's a nice place to go. They're not getting dragged to like the dusky bits of Slovenia or anything like that. They're going to a popular, lovely holiday destination. But you know, what sort of team would you? I mean, players like for me that jump out: Scamacca, Fornals, Downs. You know, I'd like them to get in the lineup, even potentially. I can't say his name well at all. Is it Mbumu or Mbama?
Mbama. Yeah,
I'd really like him to get a chance as well. Potentially, I'd love him to be in the squad. Even someone as well like Baptiste, who has sort of fizzled out in the club. Ollie Scholes. It's a great chance to give people some first team football. And like you say, we've used the word so many times this season. But it is a springboard for West Ham. You know, we win that game 2 or 3-0, you know, tails up, we go into Villa. No reason why we can't continue the momentum.
I agree. You know, as it has been something that's actually been a bit of a positive for West Ham. I mean, everyone said to us when we got in Europe the first time round, you know what happens when you get in Europe, your league form falls to pieces because you get so consumed by Europe. But actually, it was the opposite way around. I thought it's actually been, we used it as a positive. We seem to do quite well out of it. If anything, I remember when we did quite well in Europe, we then come back and did okay in the league for a period because, as you say, we carried that momentum into those games. And I'd hope to think that's going to be the case this time round. And I'm glad you said actually about the certain players. I know we were going to talk about that, but I'm glad you've mentioned about the players you've mentioned and listed out there. I actually think of the fact that now we're in this situation, what we've just had, a dire performance in the Premier League. This is a great opportunity for the likes of Downs, Lanzini, Fornals, Scamacca. I'd be absolutely chomping at the bit to get on that pitch against Larnaca and saying, well, look, I'm going to show the manager what he's missing out on. I'm going to say to him that you should be starting me against Villa. Because let's be honest, the manager's got to be infuriated with his team. I certainly would be. And this is the message I'll be relaying to these players coming in against Larnaca, saying, go and show me that you should be starting Sunday. Because, you know, I'm certainly not very keen on playing this lot after what they've just done. It's a great opportunity. I'd quite like to see Max Cornet given a go as well. I know he played in the week.
Is he alive? Is he fit? I mean,
yeah. Apparently he's alive. Apparently they found him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently he was playing. He played against Man City. I think they got hammered though. I think 5-1. I think. But it was only a Premier League 2 game under 23s. However, he did feature, so I'd be quite keen to take him out there. I think just give some players a go, give them a bit of freshen up because he needs to do that. I was going to ask you though, if you've got certain players that you'd want to include in it that have possibly could do with a bit of a confidence booster, i.e. possibly a Paqueta ahead of the Villa game? Would you want to sort of maybe include him, or Gerd's also had a couple of bad games? He was poor against Manchester United. He was at fault for pretty much all the goals. Would you maybe include him again, just as an opportunity to say, look, if you can put in a decent shift, keep a clean sheet, gives you a bit of a confidence boost? What's your feelings on that?
I'd do that for Ben Johnson. I think he's had a really rough game against Brighton, and if there's any chance of him getting his confidence up, he's going to need to play in that game. He'd be one of the people I'd be looking at. But again, I would like to see maybe like an Ollie Scholes come in. I think he's a left back for us, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
So
I think he's injured though, Riley. At the moment, I think he's out. If I'm rightly, I think he's actually. I believe he's picked up an injury, but I'm not entirely sure on the length of time. But I'm pretty sure he's out for a couple of weeks, so I don't think he'll be involved.
But someone like Ben Johnson, again, I think would be good to bring in. I think again, Paqueta, I don't worry about their confidence. I think again, it's a proper leader, and for me, Paqueta's probably the cog in the team at the moment. He's really impressed me over the last couple of weeks. I think he's playing amazingly. Maybe chuck Thomas Souček in there, but I think his confidence seems to be up a lot more. He seems to be thriving in this new kind of like ghost striker role. Number one for me would be Scamacca. I just think we need to, if he can't even start for us in the Conference League, I mean, he must be on his way out of the club at this point. We've got Danny Ings, who tends to be our starter. And I know he's just come back from injury, but he should be starting week in, week out for us. He's an absolute top striker. I can't understand why he wouldn't. So if he can't play against a Conference League side, then I honestly, it just seems like another Haller situation where a player with bags of ability and talent is just going to get wasted and it's going to end up being sold for peanuts in the summer. So for me, number one is Scamacca. I'd really like to see him play. But yeah, I think most people in the team at the moment have got a good level of confidence. We're kind of failing as a team at the moment. We're not failing as individuals. Like, there's very few individuals you can pick out at the moment that you'd say, well, they're not playing for the shirt. They're underperforming. We're underperforming as a team and as a performance. So I think this would just be a good time for the whole team to go out there, enjoy themselves, hopefully not partake in too much of the drinking before the game, and get a good victory, get a couple of goals in. Hopefully Scamacca starts, can springboard that into the Villa game. And it should be an exciting one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree on the Scamacca front as well. I think this is the prime game for him to be playing in, starting and seeing it out. Really, one, I think he needs it for his fitness. He needs it for his confidence. I mean, I am getting a bit concerned about Scamacca. I don't really know what the situation's going on there. I appreciate he has come back from injury, but it's a confusing one. You consider the fact that he's been training now for quite a few weeks. It's not as if he's just come back. And we've seen him recently. He's been back, I think, amongst the training ground now for a good 2 weeks or so. He was on the bench against Tottenham. We're talking of quite a while now. He's been involved, and we're not really seeing him. And you're thinking this is a £35 million striker. That you're thinking, when are we going to start? Is this going to start bearing fruit? Because at the moment we're not seeing enough from this. And it's only obviously raising alarm bells. I mean, obviously we had the situation. We did a video. Well, I did it, in fact, which was the Scamacca update, which was regarding his situation with his agent, which did cause raise a few eyebrows, didn't it, at least? People thinking, well, here we go. Is he on his way? But X has actually said behind the scenes that he's very happy at the football club. So, and let's be honest, we need these players firing now. We need to have these big players in good form because we are desperate in the Premier League. We've got to start getting the results. We've got to draw a line under Brighton fast. And like you say, this is probably a perfect game for us, really. Away from home. You just think the pressure will be off a little bit. I mean, we're going into it underdog. I'm sorry, they're going to be the underdogs massively. So we're going into it as a big favourite. So let's just hope we can get a decent performance, decent result. And then, just get firing, because if we can, as you say, get a clean sheet and score some goals, mate, that it can only be a good thing, can't it? Especially ahead of a big game against Villa. So
your prediction for the game is?
I'm going to predict 2-0 West Ham.
I'm going with 3-1 because I genuinely, like I said, Trevosky, he's an absolute player, that lad from, I can't remember where he's from. I think Macedonia he's from, sorry. So he's an absolute player. I don't trust us to ever keep a clean sheet. I don't think I'll ever trust it. Could be playing the fourth tier of Indian football, and I honestly don't think I'd trust us not to concede a goal. So I'll go 3-1.
3-1. I like it, mate. Every which way, mate, we're going to get the win, hopefully.
Hopefully.